Hello, everybody. I believe I am live now. Let me just do a few things here. Let me make it a little brighter in here. That is fantastic. And hopefully I am centered on the screen. I just wanted to jump on and talk to you guys about just a realization that I had today. And it was really quite remarkable. And it was something that I feel like might inspire other people who are in a really dark and dense place in their life, or they feel like that no matter what they do, they just can't seem to manifest their desires. And more importantly, it might appear like things are actually working against you. So the more that you strive to have these things that you want, things are going completely sideways, and you just feel like pulling your hair out because, banging your fists on the table and just like, why is this happening to me? And I understand this feeling so incredibly well because I've been in that particular space myself. And I wanted to share a story with you guys that happened this morning. And I thought it was quite beautiful and pretty profound. And I just am marinating in the essence of it. And I feel like that you guys could benefit from hearing this as well. So I titled this Stay Aligned with Your Dreams and Visions, even when you feel like everything is working against you. So those of you who are new here to my channel, my name is Kristen Brown, and I'm a self-worth recovery, relationship healing, shame and unworthiness, people-pleasing recovery, life coach, author, and mentor. I'm also the host of the Sweet Empowerment podcast, Reclaim Your Personal Power, which you can find on all major podcasting platforms. So this morning, my husband and I needed to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles because we needed to register a vehicle. And it's not very far from our house. It's about 6 miles from our house. And I said, why don't we ride bikes? It's absolutely gorgeous outside, hence the hat and the thing. And I said, why don't we just ride bikes to this thing? And he was like, okay, cool. So we jumped on our bikes and we're riding there. And as we're going there, we were going to pass a Starbucks. And those of you who know me know that I really like my decaf mocha. So I said, why don't we stop at Starbucks on the way? And then let me grab my water real quick. Sorry, you guys. Why don't we stop at Starbucks on the way and get a coffee? And, we got little drink holders and we can have our coffee on the way to the Department of Motor Vehicle. He said, sure. So we we walked into the Starbucks and we're standing there in line. And this was the Starbucks that I wrote a lot of my first book in. And I was writing this first book during what I call the College of Kristen. For those of you who haven't followed me for very long, that was a really concentrated area of time for me where I had just gone through my tsunami, where my life was like completely wiped out, and me and my children were going to be homeless. So gratefully, my parents, my mother and my stepfather took us in, and you'll read about this all in my upcoming book, The Recovering People Pleaser. And they took us in. We were able to live there while I rebuilt my life and was able to care for my children. So it's a long story, so I won't get into all of that. But what happened is that while I was in that Starbucks, the same exact Starbucks, I was writing my first book many, many times while I was sitting there. And I was just kind of leaning back and I was thinking, and I was watching couples come in. And the man seemed so attentive to his partner. And I could just feel, because I'm an energy reader, I could feel his love for her. And I could feel that he really wanted to be there with her and that she was super important to him. And that was something that I had not experienced in any of my relationships in all the time that I have dated or had been married. And I sat there and I would look at them and I would feel the essence of it. I would stay in the dream of it, even though this was during my College of Kristen, which is the time where I took 2 years off, didn't know it was going to be 2 years, to remain single and celibate until I figured out why I kept attracting partners who did not treat me well. And I didn't know how long it was going to take. I didn't know what I was going to do. All I know is that I followed inspiration and I meditated a lot. I looked into shadow work. I looked at my projections. I took ownership of my own behavior. I spoke to God a lot. I didn't call it praying. I called it speaking to God. I just had conversations with God, and I really, truly did my work. But while I was in this time, it's important to keep in mind that I was, again, like I was saying, I was living somewhere that I didn't want to live, not because it was lacking love or support, because I was 42 years old. I was used to living on my own. I had worked since I was 15. I had a great credit rating. I mean, the fact that this whole shenanigans happened to me was really something that was clearly unexpected in my life. So I was not living my dream at that moment of time. So I was working through those things, but in that process of not having what I wanted, in fact, it appeared to be everything was not what I wanted. I was dealing with the hearts and emotions of my children. My mother had cancer. I was living in a house that had like a revolving door. My mom had people all the time. I really enjoy a quiet space. All of these things that was not how I wanted my life to be. Even still, I took the time to visualize my dream that I wanted to be standing in Starbucks with my ideal partner, the man of my dreams. And I would just sit there for a moment and I would visualize that. And I would get into the feeling of it and the essence of what it truly felt like to have what it is that I wanted so desperately, that I had been trying in vain to get my whole life. Now, many times we forget our dream. We become victimized by life. We think that it's never going to get any better than it is, and we give up. That is called the victimization trap, because we feel like it's never going to work for us, that there's something wrong, that we're fatally flawed, that we're destined for crappy relationships or whatever else dream. We're destined to be broke, or we're destined to be unhealthy, or whatever. We believe these limiting beliefs about what we can have in our life because of the way things are looking in our reality. And we forget that the universe wants us to win. So when we take that time, even amidst the chaos, even amidst the struggle, no matter what's going in our life, and we take that time to sit back and visualize and get into the true feeling of what it's going to be like when we have that thing, the universe is going to conspire on your behalf. The universe is going to do anything it can, which is far beyond our understanding, because you have to imagine the biggest macro computer that is as large as the entire universe and all of its galaxies. That much information knows exactly how to move you into perfect alignment with that manifestation of your dream. And sometimes this looks like things are falling apart. But sometimes things need to fall apart before they can fall together. It may appear like this is not lining us up for this manifestation. But I challenge you to ask yourself this question. What if this is exactly what I need right now for me to learn what I need to learn, so that I can up-level my vibrational frequency, so that I can become a match to that dream and desire? So as I was standing in that exact Starbucks with the man of my dreams, a partner who respects and loves me, makes me his priority, wants to spend time with me, cares about my needs, I knew that I had manifested my dream. And I did it amongst the chaos and the fear. During that time in my life, you guys, you have to know that that was literally one of my greatest fears coming to fruition, was that I wouldn't be able to care for my children. They are my absolute number one priority. So I was living in a space that was so dark and so scary, and I did not know how I was ever going to get out of it. But I took it one step at a time, and I understood how energy worked. So even through me working through my processes, learning to love myself, which I did not know at the time that's what I was doing, but working through my processes and learning to love myself and releasing the past and doing all the things I was doing, even though it appeared like my life wasn't working out for me, all the steps were being laid out for me. I just had to show up for each lesson and each clearing of energy. Interesting enough, here's another thought I had while I was on this bike ride with my husband. This is another manifestation. When we met, we were both living in other people's homes, not the same home. I was living with my parents, and he had just gone through a huge breakup that was devastating for him, where he was living in a roommate situation as well. This did not look like the ideal situation. But when we came together and we finally decided to live together, and later we ended up getting married, he was in one job and he decided to start his own business. I was also doing hair. I was a hairstylist for 29 years total, but I was also side hustling, writing books, authoring, blogging, coaching. So we were both really, really super busy. Plus, I'm 3 children that I'm, living with and healing and helping to work through life and all the things that come with that. For all you parents, you understand. But one random day, we were sitting at lunch together in a nearby restaurant. And I said, I want to take a minute at this time, and I want to really appreciate and be in the energy of gratitude that we get this time right now. I want it to always be like this, to where we line up our life and we manifest a life where we can do random things, like take bike rides to the DMV on a Wednesday morning. Or we could say, hey, babe, we're in separate offices. Do you have time for lunch? Or, hey, I'm going to run to the grocery store. I wanted freedom in my life. I worked a schedule for so long, because doing hair is it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it's a very, very regimented schedule. And I wanted some peace and freedom and flow in my life. And I wanted us to be able to do these random things. And so did he. And I said, let's sit in this right now. Let's really relish in the fact that we have this time together and call this into our reality. It wasn't reality at that time. And it wasn't a very long after. I don't know, because I wasn't keeping track, but it was like a year or 2 years. The next thing you know, we had brought that and manifested that into our life, where we can do things like we did that morning. Now, remember, I was homeless. So this wasn't that, we had all this money and we had all these things working for us, right? We had moved into a rental and then manifested the house that you see me sitting in today. So even when things look like they're not working for you, when it appears that the world is against you, when it appears that you're never going to have those dreams, I want to invite you, encourage you, and really promote you having faith that God, universe, source, energy, the ethers, whatever it is that you call it, has your back and wants you to win. The universe wants you to have all your dreams. The key is to show up one step at a time. Do the healing work. Show up to your lessons. Invite God, universe, to show you what is your next best step. That was a large part of my healing journey. I said, what next, God? What next? And whatever lesson or idea or book or dream or vision I had in a manifestation, in a meditation, whatever came my way, I marinated on it. I felt in it. Even when my 3D world was the furthest thing from what I wanted. And step by beautiful step, my life came to be. The reason why I wanted to share this with you guys today is for 2 reasons. One is that I had this just like crazy epiphany standing in that Starbucks. I'm like, wow, I am here. And that is often how our manifestations present. Because when we're truly living in the vision of them, we're envisioning what we want, but most importantly, how it's going to feel when we receive it. We are already energetically living in that manifestation. We are in the perfect position for universe to bring that to us. And it doesn't always happen in one fell swoop. It wasn't like, boom. You got to keep in mind, I hadn't even met my husband yet. I was just sitting in that Starbucks writing my book and doing things and envisioning maybe 5 minutes at a time. It's important that you don't obsess on your visions. Because I didn't sit there obsessing and banging my head against the wall. I will say at one point I probably did. But then that was part of my lesson. I got myself out of that, because obsessing on your dream is really resistance, because you don't really believe that that dream can happen. So when we're obsessing, it's the energy of, it's not, I really don't believe this can happen. So it's about releasing resistance, getting into the vision, feeling it, imagining what it's going to be like when you have this manifestation. And then when it slinks into your life, honestly, sometimes you don't even know it happened. Here I am 10 years later with this man standing in Starbucks going, I have this. I have this now. Show up to your life. Invite God, Spirit, universe to assist you. The universe will not impose on us. That is what our free will is. But when you invite it in, it will help you, but only in the highest way possible that's going to serve you. This is about shifting our mindset from lack to abundance. Sorry, guys, my nose is itching. No matter what our 3D world looks like, it's about stepping out of what we believe to be reality and believing that we can have better. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with you today. It's because I want you to know you can have more. You are not stuck. This is not over, and you are not destined for a crappy relationship. The other reason is for you to know that whatever, well, let me think of the other reason. Now I forgot it. This is live, so you guys get this part of Kristen Brown. I forgot what the other reason was. But at any rate, I really hope that you got something from this today. I really, really hope that this is reaching your heart and speaking to your mind and giving you that little bit of inspiration to keep going, even when everything looks like it's wrong. Universe, God, source, the ethers, whatever you call it, energy, it is all conspiring for you. Invite it in. Visualize. You only need to visualize. Oh, that was the other point. You only need to visualize 5 minutes a day. You do not need to stay attached to your visualization. The key is to get happy first. What I didn't mention is that I learned to really love, enjoy, and appreciate living in that home with other people when I was so used to being in my own private space and quiet space. I learned to really love and appreciate it and to accept what is right now. And in that joy and happiness, we actually become an open vessel for universe to bring whatever it is that we dream and desire. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what it's going to feel like when you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. And if you have, I invite you to subscribe and to ring the bell notification so that you are notified when I go live or when I upload new videos. It is my joy and pleasure to serve you and to be here for you, to encourage you to keep going in your life, because you are amazing. You are brilliant, and you deserve everything that you desire. All right, everybody. So much love. Peace.